Okay, so let's take a look at practice problem section 3-1, number 8, where we are supposed to figure out where points A, B, and C would end up if we flip this triangle, or we reflect this triangle over this line right here, which is the line y equals x. And so you can see I put points A, B, and C at these three locations. And now I have to figure out, okay, let's start with A. Where would A prime be if I flip this across this line? Now I know that I have a general idea that it would be somewhere up in here. And what I'm going to think about to figure out exactly where that would be is I'm going to think about the fact that when I connect A to the point A prime, okay, I create this segment connecting A to A prime. That segment is going to be perpendicular to the line of reflection, which is y equals x, and that line y equals x will bisect that segment A prime. Or in other words, the point where that segment A prime meets the line y equals x, that will be the midpoint of this segment A prime. So let's start with the idea that this segment connecting A to A prime is going to be perpendicular to the point y equals x. Or sorry, the line y equals x. The line y equals x has a slope of 1, right? This red line here, it goes up 1 over 1 to get from point to point. So it has a slope of 1, which would mean that this line right here would have a slope that would be -1. And -1 or -1 over 1 would mean that I would go, let's say, down 1 and right 1, or up 1 and left 1. So if I think about some point, if A is on that line, obviously, then some other points that would be on that line would be going up 1 and left 1 from A, and then keeping on doing that. And you see, eventually, if I make a certain number of those movements, it looks like I made, oops, sorry, I need to grab this tool. If I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those movements, I get right to this line of reflection. And since y equals x is going to bisect this the segment that I'm imagining here, I know that that point right there is the midpoint of segment A prime. So if it took me 6 movements from A to get to that, then I could do 6 more movements and I should end up at A prime. So up 1 and left 1 once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6. That point right there is going to be where A prime would be. And so let's put a point there. I think I lost track of where it was. 1 second here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like it would be right there. Now let's look at the two coordinates of A and A prime. A was at 8, -4. And A prime, you'll notice, is at -4, 8. And if you look at those two coordinates, you'll notice something. 8, -4, -4, 8. The x and the y's are flipped. And that actually happens every time you reflect a point across this special line y equals x. That's kind of a very special line that says, hey, these are all the points where the y and the x coordinate are the same. It's got a lot of interesting things about it. One of the things that's interesting is that if I reflect a point across that line, the new point is just going to have the same coordinates but reversed. The 8 that was an x coordinate here becomes the y coordinate there. The -4 that was the y coordinate becomes the x coordinate there. So A prime is at -4, 8. And if you think about that rule that I just gave you, you should be able to figure out where B prime and C prime would end up being.